Right, day 4. First thing we're going to do today is just recap again. There's a couple of people just struggling a little bit, lacking in confidence and stuff like that. So the first part of this video will be a recap of like number machines in general, and then we'll move on to the nth term type of thing towards the end. So there'll be 2 tasks today, 2 small tasks. If you are fine and you're confident and you've scored 5 out of 5 on the other 2 previous days, you don't necessarily need to do the first 5. If you like, you can skip to the second 5. But if you've struggled or you want a bit more practice, then do the first 5. Alright, it's up to you. Right, so here we go. Here's our first number sequence. I'll just move it, put it in the middle, nice and big. So we're looking for 2 operations. We're looking for 2 things you can do to a number which turns them into these numbers. Okay, so we're looking for something you can do to a 1 which will turn it into a 2. And if you do the same to it, it'll turn a 2 into a 7, a 3 into a 12, 4 into 17, and a 5 into 22. Okay, that's kind of what we're looking for. So first thing we do is we look for the gap of what they're going up in. And hopefully you've noticed that these are going up in 5s. So because they're going up in 5s, that will be our multiplication. Okay, our multiplication is always the gap, right? And these gaps are 5. So the multiplication is 5. Then what we do is we use our 2 boxes to make a sum which equals the first term. So the first number in the sequence is always the answer to the sum. Okay, so now we've got 5 something equals 2. So it's always an add or a minus, or it will be in our case. Okay, and we've got to go either 5 add something or 5 take away something equals 2. Now hopefully you were able to work out that 5 take away 3 is 2. So 5 take away 3. So times by 5 and then take away 3 is what we do to our numbers. So if we think about putting 1 into this, it would be 5 take away 3 equals 2. If we put 2 in it, it would be 2 times 5 is 10, take away 3 equals 7. 3 in it, 3 times 5 is 15, take away 3 is 12. So it's working. Alright, so the answer to this one would be times by 5 minus 3. So here's the next operation, and again we're looking for 2 things, two kind of operations to a number, two steps of the number machine to equal these answers. When you put 1 in it, it becomes 8, 2 becomes 11, 3 becomes 14, 4 becomes 17, and 5 becomes 20. First thing we do is we look at what they're going up in. What are these sequences going up in? Are these numbers going up in, I should say? They are going up in 3s. So therefore, the multiplication step, the first step, is times by 3. Okay? Then we need to make our sum. So this becomes part of the sum, these 2, with the answer to this sum being the first term, which is 8. Okay? So basically we are on 3 and we have to get to 8 by using add or take away. And if it's obviously 8 is bigger, so we're going to have to add something. So we know it's going to be add now. 3 add something equals 8, 3 add 5 equals 8. Okay, so the answer to this one, the number machine would look like this. That would be your answer. We could check it if we wanted to. We've already done 1 equals 8, so let's try to see if 2 equals 11. So we put 2 in it. 2 times 3 is 6, add 5 equals 11, correct. If we put 3 in it, do we get 14? Let's check. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 5 equals 14, correct. And that's 3 that's correct, so we know it's fine, it's done. Alright, there's your second example. Right, your last example, your third example is this one. So again, we are looking for the answer in the form of 2 things you can do to a number. So 2 boxes, So you get your 2 boxes ready. You then look for what it's going up in. See if you can spot what it's going up in. And hopefully you've spotted it's going up in 6s. So our multiplication is 6. Okay, our first operation, our first box is 6. We then make this into a sum, which equals the first term of the sequence. In this case, it's 1. And then we need to think, right, we're on 6. How are we going to get to 1 using add or take away? So we're going to go take away because it's obviously smaller. So we go 6 take away 5 equals 1. So your answer, your 2 boxes, should look like multiply by 6, take away 5. We now check it. If we put 2 in it, it should equal 7. Let's check. 2 times 6 is 12. Take away 5, gone. There. 2 times 6 equals 12. Take away 5 equals 7. Correct. 3 times 6, it should give us 13. This one, let's check. 3 times 6 is 18. Minus 5 equals 13. Done. Alright. Hopefully now you can get these 5 and we can score 5 out of 5. Right, here we go. Here are your questions. So I'm kind of expecting the answers, I should say, in 2 boxes like that, with the gap for each one going in the first box in there, and then make the sum to equal your first term, and whatever you would have to do to that number in your first box here to get to your first term, either add or take away, and then whatever number goes in there to fix it. Okay, so there's your 5 questions for your kind of recap. These do not need doing if you scored 4 or 5 out of 5 and you're totally confident. If you're totally confident, you can skip through to the next part of this video. Right, so finding the nth term is very, very, very similar. Let me just think of a number sequence. 5, 11, 17, 23, 29. Okay, so there's the number sequence. Now we do exactly what we've been doing up to now. So we work out what it's going up in. We know, hopefully you can see that that's going up in 6s. So we know our first one's going to be multiplied by 6. We then think, right, we need a sum that's going to equal 5, and we're on 6. So the second box is going to be minus 1. Okay, so we multiply by 6 and then take away 1 would give us that. That would be the number machine. And if we put any number into this, okay, we're going to put any number in the form of an n. We're going to show this with n. The n would go through our number machine. It would become 6n, in other words, 6 times itself. Okay, and then after we've multiplied it by 6, we take away 1. Alright, it's exactly the same. Alright, it's doing that. So whatever number you put into this machine, you multiply it by 6, and you take away 1 from your answer. Alright, so finding the nth term is basically writing the number machine slightly differently. As you can see, it's very, very similar. It's just not in 2 boxes, and we're putting an n instead of the multiply, really. We're swapping it. We're swapping the x for an n, if you want to look at it like that. Alright, but being able to write it like this will score you more points. Alright, let's do another example. Right, here's another example. So again, first thing we do is we look for the gap. Excuse me. So we go from 2 to 14, 14 to 26, 26 to 38, and 38 to 50. So the gap size is 12. So if we were doing a number machine, our number machine would look like this. Times by 12 would be our first box. And then we've got to get from 12 down to 2, because 2 is our first term. So to go from 12 down to 2, we'd have to take away 10. Alright, so that's what it's looking at. We could check it now if we wanted. So we already done the 2 once. So let's do the second term, which is 14. If we put 2 in, do we get 14? 2 times 12 is 24. Take away 10 is 14. We do. Let's try 3. Let's try 3 is 26. 3 times 12 is 36. Take away 10 is 26. So yeah, it does work. Now we need to put it in our new way of writing it. We put any number in that. We're going to get 12 times that any number, 12 lots of that number. And then we just take away 10. So that would be how you write it as an nth term. And the last example, let's go with 1, 10, 19, 28, 37. So there's our number sequence. First thing we do is we look for the gap from 1 to 10, from 10 to 19, from 19 to 28, 28 to 37. And hopefully you've all spotted that it's going up in 9s. So we put our 2 boxes in, as we've been doing. We think, right, the first one is multiplied by 9. We then think of it as a sum, with the answer being 1. And we've got to go from 9 down to 1, which is going to be take away. Why aren't you writing? Take away 8. Okay? We then got to put it in our new way of writing our formulas now. Now we think, right, if we put any number in and we multiply it by 9, it's going to be 9 times that any number. And then we just bring the take away 8 down. So there is the nth term for that number sequence. So basically what that means is if you've got this number sequence and somebody said to you, I want to know the 100th number in this sequence, you would put the number 100 into this. So you would go 9 times 100, take away 8. So the answer would be 900 take away 8, which is 892. So that's the whole point of this. That's the whole point of writing like this. For you to find any term. So if somebody said, right, what's the 2000th number in that sequence? You'd put 2000 through that. So it becomes 9 times 2000 is 18,000. Take away 8 is 17,992. That's the whole point of it. Right, let's give you some questions. So I'll give you 5, and your task is to produce 5 little formulas like that. Right, so here are your questions. What I'm expecting the answers to look like is something n, and then either plus or minus, and then a number. Okay, that's what I'm expecting it to look like. To be honest, I could have made it easier. The gap size goes in front of the n, so whatever your gap size is, oh, gone too far, come back a bit, goes there, and then whatever that number is, whatever you have to do to that number to get the first number, goes in the box. Okay, I think I've given you enough hints. So watch the video back if you're a little bit stuck. Watch it 10 times if you like. Alright, let's see if you can get the 5 formulas for these number sequences. Good luck.